right, we're live. Yay! Okay, we're here. We're live. Hello, everybody. We're waiting. Okay. If you're catching the replay of this, my daughters are playing Animal Crossing in the background, so that's what that sound is. And I think Dominic's taking a nap. And no, you're good, sweetie. You're good. It's just Animal Crossing. I see people coming in now. Thank you for joining. This is our, what is this, like our third live, I believe. But this is the first time that we're going live all about Cricut. Yay! So I am here to answer your Cricut Q&A questions. Anything that you have a question about, I will do my very best to answer them for you. So, well, I have some Cricut paper because I was going to take a really cute thumbnail, but technology was hating and I wasn't able to get it. So I just put one together really quick, but it still turned out quick. Cute. Oh, I'm so excited to see everyone coming in. Hi, Mikey. Thank you for coming. Yay. Hi, Ingrid. Hi, Tasha. Thank you guys for coming to the live. All right. Well, let's get started. I know, Tasha, I know you have questions, but let's get started with the Q&A. If you have any questions at all about Cricut, I will do my very best to answer them for you. And we're waiting for more people to come in, more questions. Well, I'll start off with why I purchased a Cricut. I got a Cricut about 2 years ago. And first of all, a Cricut is a cutting machine. To some of you who don't know that, it does more than just cutting. It can write. It can cut different materials depending on what you're looking for, what you're using. And it can be a little overwhelming at first. And that's why I was actually encouraged by my sister to go live and to answer some of these questions that she had. And anyone else who is interested in Cricut or who may have a Cricut but are kind of confused. So I'm here to help. All right, so let's see. Apparently there are 7 million questions that I must answer. But this question is, what kind of Cricut do you have and do you recommend it? Great question to start off with. I have the Cricut Maker, which it's not the latest Cricut because the latest Cricut is the Cricut Joy, but I have the Cricut Maker, which is the latest in the large, like full-size Cricut models, and that one can do everything. So I recommend it because it does everything. So it can cut thin material, it can actually cut fabric, it can cut wood, and so, well, thinner pieces of wood. And so because of that, and it's Bluetooth connected, so I can either use my phone or use my desktop. And that's ultimately, that was the selling point for me to get the Maker. It is a little bit more on the expensive side compared to some of the other models, but it was worth it. And I've more than paid for it in the amount of stuff that I've sold. So I was really happy about that. All right, let's see. Hello. Okay, so the biggest difference between the Cricut Maker and the Cricut Explorer is that, oh, hold on, changing my light. There we go. That's better. A little less harsh. It's right here in my face. Okay. The biggest difference between the Cricut Maker and the Explorer is what it can do. So the Explorer is a little bit on the older side. And so it's kind of limited. Like, I believe it can't do certain fabrics and it can't do fabric at all, whereas the Maker can. But the Explorer is more affordable. So it's a little bit easier to get your hands on the Explorer than necessarily the Maker. Hey, everybody, as you're coming in. This is so exciting. Thank you guys for coming in. I haven't gone live in a while. I think the last time I went live, Dominic was only like 5 months. So it was about a year ago. I think this is the last time that or getting close to a year ago that I went live. And now he's a screaming, teething super baby. So, any other questions that we may have out there? Okay, so what has been my favorite project so far with the Cricut? Oh my goodness. My favorite project. So my favorite project so far, um, hmm, I've done a lot of projects. I've done a lot of t-shirts. I've done a lot of glasses. Um, I've done tote bags. I have even, I guess I made a sign over Christmas. It was a custom order and it was really beautiful. Like it turned out really nice. And it's kind of hard because I like to get my hands in stuff as a crafter. So I love to paint and I love to do other things. So I don't necessarily love the idea of the machine doing all the work for me. But when it comes to doing that sign just turned out really, really nice. So I guess that one would have probably been my favorite. Let me see. As a newbie, are there some projects that you would recommend starting with? Yes. One, start with cards because cards are easy. Very little overhead going into it. You usually have the paper at home, especially if you dabble in crafting a little bit. And if not, like the craft stores always have packs of paper on sale for $2, $3, $4, $5. And when you give it to someone, so let's say this is like your fourth or fifth attempt at making a card, when you give it to someone, they're like, oh my gosh, this custom made card. And they don't realize that you've, used half a pack of paper. They're just so happy that you took the time to make that professional looking card for them. So definitely start with the cards. And then if you're feeling really adventurous, make yourself a shirt. Worst case scenario, it becomes a pajama shirt. But that helps you to practice and experiment with different like materials, the cutting materials. I think the first shirt that I made, I used the foil and I wasn't crazy about that. I mean, I was at the time, but now that I've got more experience under my belt, I'm not too crazy about the foil, just for the longevity of the garment. But I know that now through experiment. So now the shirt that I originally made is now a t-shirt, just like a around the house t-shirt. Okay, another question. There's a ton of information online about secret Cricut hacks. Are there any that you know of and what are they? Everyone has a hack. Apparently, you can use baby wipes on the mats to clean them. You can use like the thin Crayola markers inside. I don't recommend that just for the simple fact that I don't like the idea of ruining my expensive machine. So I don't want to take that chance. But let me see. Is there a hack that I have tried? I definitely like the idea. What happened? Oh, nice. Gabby had to tell me something. I definitely like I got one. Even though they say the infusible ink can only be used on their materials, there are other materials that you can use the infusible ink on, but it has to be a certain level of polyester in the garment or the item in order for it to have the same effect as the Cricut line of clothing. Let's see. Next question. Is it easy to upload your own images with the Cricut? Yes. Great question, Ingrid. Thank you. I actually did a video and I just posted it today on how simple it is. And even though I did it in 2 different ways, and even through the magic of editing, the video is only 4 minutes long because that's how simple it is to upload it. Once you get a hang of it, and again, get the initial jitters out about, the Cricut and the fears of using your Cricut, once you get past that point, then you'll be able to just go in and really quickly, whether it's on the app, so your phone or your iPad, or it's on your desktop, and it has 0 issues usually with uploading your images. Okay, next question. Should we go to YouTube videos to improve? Of course. Nothing wrong with getting your degree in YouTube University, making sure that you watch videos, find a YouTuber, dream for art, but find a YouTuber that you like that explains it in a way that you understand and follow their instructions. But it's very helpful to use YouTube videos to get through your initial, especially the initial jitters of using your Cricut. What's Infusible Ink and what does it do? What type of product should you use it on? Great question. So Infusible Ink, they just released it, and I know I'm going to sound like an absolute fangirl over this, but I remember the date that it came out. It came out last June. June 1st is when they released the Infusible Ink line. Basically what that is when you're using an iron-on, the iron-on just kind of sits on top of the garment that you're using or the material that you're using. So if you're making a shirt, for example, it just kind of sits on top. And over time, it can start to peel or lift up. And it takes a lot of washes. Like, don't get me wrong, but it does take a lot of washes, but it can start to lift up and peel, especially if it wasn't applied with enough pressure initially. The Infusible Ink, it's literally like it goes into the garment and it's like it's printed onto the garment. So they have tote bags, they have shirts, they have coasters. So I keep saying garments, but it's not a garment. There's other options, but it's literally like printed onto it. So the downside to Infusible Ink is that it can be a little pricey. One shirt usually costs about $10, and that's just for the shirt. The pack of material costs about $15, sometimes between $12 and $18. Sometimes you can catch all of this stuff on sale, but it's really hard to kind of flip that into, especially if you're thinking about starting a business, just because you're going to have to raise the prices of it to cover your initial, input of your finances. Oh, so many questions. Let's see. Are there any other tools and accessories that you will need to use with the Cricut, and are they budget friendly? That also kind of goes with those hacks. So yes, there are all kinds of little tools, like they have the scraper so that you can scrape up your material from the mat. They have like a little poker. I call it, it looks like the thing that they use at the dentist to get the plaque off your teeth, that little sharp hook. But that one is probably my favorite one, just, side note. But they have all these a variety of tools. Some things you can do without, especially initially. A lot of materials actually can be found at Walmart, which undercuts the cost of a lot of places, or you can find it on sale as well. So I would say to start off, a lot of times they offer a bundle if you get it from like HSN or that stuff in the bundle you don't necessarily need, right? Especially not right away. So those tools you might not need initially. You definitely need something to help you peel off from the sticky mat. So you definitely need like the little scraper, or some people use a credit card or an old like library card that they don't use. And that also works to help you get the materials off. And then, like I said, I like that little hook thingy. Okay, let's see. Next question. Should I only use Cricut products, for example, vinyl paper? I'm going to say no, in the hopes that one day when Cricut actually is sponsoring me, putting these things out into existence, but that Cricut doesn't get mad at me for saying this. But no, there's a variety of other lines out there. Joann even offers their own brand of like rolls of paper, different paper. So they have like different removable vinyl, they have iron-on vinyl, they have permanent vinyl. And my favorite one to use, especially for making a t-shirt, is Sizer, Siser. Sizer's paper I really, really, really enjoy using. It's a little bit more so for a roll like this. This is probably going to cost me about $8 or $9, and I can use this. Let me see. This is 12 by 48, but this is not iron. This is removable mat. Usually the iron-on paper comes in 12 by 24, so I can probably get about 3 projects out of that. Whereas with the sizer paper, they give you a lot more. I actually have a roll of paper size. I have a few rolls of sizer upstairs, but I won't leave you guys hanging to show you the difference. But you get more, but usually the startup cost is around $18. So it kind of balances out when you think about it. Instead of buying 2 or 3 rolls like this, you would buy 1 sizer roll. And you have to adjust the settings to use sizer, but I'll do that in another video to show you how to do that. Let's see. Do you have any suggestions for not wasting products like vinyl? When I make a design, I notice that there's leftover material and I'm not sure what to do with it. So there's a few different things that you can do. One, there's actually a setting on your Cricut that, well, not actually on your Cricut, but in Design Space, so that you can like a paper saving settings. And I know the older ones, the ones that my mom originally had, like the original Cricut, you definitely, like, it was a knob that you could tell it to not do so much. But it's also about how you line it up when you're in Design Space. You know what? Why talk about it? Let's be about it. Hold, please. I will show you. I'm going to use, because I'm on my desktop right now, so I'm going to show you in Design Space on my phone. Oh my goodness. Okay. Oh. This is too much technology. Okay. So I don't know if you can see this very clearly, but I will show you really quickly in Design Space. I had a project I was working on earlier, so it's right here on my canvas. But if you look, when you go to make it and you're at this screen, if it's taking up too much space, you can actually physically move it around. And that'll help you to arrange where you're not losing so much material. And also, when you're cutting it out and you end up getting like a big square or like a decent triangle or some amount, surface area amount that you feel like is kind of wasteful, you can actually cut that. And I like to put them in a Ziploc bag, and I have a Ziploc bag for iron-on and all my different types of vinyl. And I usually just put the scraps in there because sometimes, for example, a t-shirt that I made using a quote from Martin, the show from Martin, there was literally one dotted I that was blue. The whole shirt was essentially white, the layout, but there was one I that had a dot that was blue. Well, instead of me cutting a big old piece of my rolls, I went to my scraps and was able to pull out a little weird square that I had, and I was able to cut out just that circle that I needed. So definitely hold on to the scraps that you feel like are usable, and you can use them for a rainy day. Next question is the Cricut child friendly for some projects? So I'm going to say yes, ... The reason why I say yes, ... is because yes, it's actually simple to use that. Sorry. And my husband just logged on. Thank you, honey. But it's actually really simple to use the Cricut. But when it comes to, I would definitely recommend an older child using it. There have been projects that actually Gabby has helped me on. We had a massive amount of t-shirts that we had to make, and it was getting close to the deadline for the t-shirts to be ready, and it wasn't working out. I was getting a little frustrated that it wasn't doing what I needed it to do, and she stepped in and she was like, Mom, I've got this. And she literally finished the project for me, and we made it right on time. So it's not impossible to use, but I would definitely say with adult supervision. And if you trust your child to be around, a decent investment worth of money in the machine, then go right on ahead. All right. Any more questions coming in? Let's see. How long does it usually take you to finish a project using the Cricut? Okay, so the way my life is set up, in my mind, it takes me, 2 minutes and I'm done. But then, I've got, 7 kids, and our schedule, especially prior to quarantine, our schedule was really, really busy. So me personally, it takes it's really quick. It doesn't take me that long to do a project. I just have to carve out the time to be able to do the project. So typically, because the Cricut is really fast, I think the longest I've ever seen the Cricut take was I did wedding invitations for a friend of mine, and it was a very intricate cut. So because she had like flowers and it almost looked like lace details, and so the Cricut, it was taking the Cricut about 6 or 7 minutes to do just one. And that's the longest I've seen the Cricut take on a project. So anything else is a matter of moments before the Cricut has done its part. And then it's just on you to assemble. Yeah, 7 kids. Yes, it definitely is quite the blessing. Yeah. Those 7 kids, I tell you. But they are very handy when I need them to help me out. So I do appreciate it. Thank you, girls. Because there's some of them in the living room. Chrissy put Dominic to sleep. That's why he's not being like, all bouncing all around during this live. So many kids. I know. Thank you, honey. Do I keep my machine out, ready to go, or store it? It goes back and forth. Ideally, I keep it out, but I keep it closed. But there are times where I have to move it and take it with me. There are times when I have to, I've done projects on the road, so I've had to pack it up. And I honestly feel like because of how busy Dominic is, and I don't trust him to not mess up my machine, not yet anyway, I'm going to start keeping it out of his reach. But definitely, if you have the space to leave it out, leave it out. It's pretty. Should I purchase extra blades? Yes, only because, but it takes a long time for those blades to wear down. So if you're getting just the original blade, it took, like, I literally did, the first time I had to change out the blade was almost a year after I had the machine. Now, do I have the other options? Yes, because again, I have the Cricut Maker, so I have some of the other blades that use different materials. So I have the fabric blade, so when I'm cutting out my fabric, I can switch it in and out. I have the scoring wheel. I also have the scoring stylus. So I do have those other ones. It depends on what project you want to do with it. But the original blade that you have that it comes with, just, that one, it actually has a really good lifetime. Or you can get the upgraded blades. Thank you, honey. Because he also is, as much as he fights me, well, he doesn't fight me, but a lot of times I'll start a project and he's like, oh, well, hey, let me see how I can fix this for you, make it more efficient. And then he jumps in. Does glitter paper cause a mess on the mat? It can, depending on if it's the kind of paper that sheds, if it's the kind of glitter paper that sheds. So it can make your mat a little less sticky, but that's also where that scraper kind of comes in, because that helps you to get off that excess stuff. What about this easy press? I may or may not have purchased a couple recently because I have multiple projects I want to do. Which ones do you have? One or ones do you have? So I have the Easy Press 2. I love my Easy Press. Don't get me wrong. When I first started off with my Cricut, I had my household iron. I don't know how long that iron was alive. I honestly think it came with the house. I don't know, but it burned in certain spots. It didn't press the material evenly. So some of my spots would bubble up a little bit, and some parts wouldn't stick at all. So it became more and more frustrating. But it took about 9 or 10 months before I finally was ready to take the plunge into the Easy Press. Once I got the Easy Press, I fell in love. But I'm going to be honest with you, eventually I'm going to upgrade to a heat press, like an actual physical, like factory size heat press, just because that one's supposed to be even faster than the Easy Press. But if you're in between, like I am currently, honestly, in between the iron, the household iron, which isn't the greatest to use, but you got to do what you got to do, or the big factory mega press that you see, like, at the beach when they're making those t-shirts. when you're in between, the easy press is the way to go. I believe the size that I have is 9x9 because I was a little apprehensive about jumping into the bigger sizes. But after having the easy press for a little while, I definitely see the need for the bigger sizes and for the smaller sizes. So again, that's up to you to depend on like what projects you like to do and which one you feel like is going to be the best value for you as well. Let's see. I know. See, the problem is that in my case, my husband joins in my lives, so he knows about the secret purchases. Our mugs